You can navigate almost anything in life if you have this. And most people don't have it because it's a mystical thing. These are two mystical buzzwords in the spiritual community. Self-love. If you have self-love, you can quite literally do anything. The problem is self-love is a pretty mystified, kind of ethereal concept to most people. And when you make it real in your life, that's when the magic starts to happen. So that's what this video is about, is making self-love real, demystifying it, and helping you apply it in the day-to-day, because that's what's going to make it real. That's what's going to integrate it for you and help it do all of the juicy magic it can do. So you guys check out the description below. I post free meditations every week. They are available for 7 days for free. There's new ones popping up every week with each new video. And after that, they go for sale on my I'mSoulLifted.com website. Okay, so self-love is best understood when we live it and we apply it on a daily basis. Because if you think about it and you go, okay, I'm gonna do a self-love practice. That's great, but how weird is it that we're so disconnected from love itself? Because that's what self-love is, being connected into love itself. We're so disconnected that we would have to implement practices to bring us back to our true nature of love. That's why people are looking for love in all of the wrong places. They're trying to find it in their family dynamics, or with a partner to be, or on their social media, you know, with likes and follows, because it is essential for us to line up with love itself. But we don't need anything outside of us in order to do that. What we do absolutely positively need is a good and positive relationship with ourselves. And most people have no idea how much they're abusing themselves on a regular basis. And the symptoms of this are low self-esteem, constantly second-guessing yourself, feeling anxious, feeling depressed, feeling low, feeling like you can't do things, like you can't accomplish things, feeling like you're not attractive, feeling like you can't have what you want. All of these things are symptoms of low self-love or no self-love. And the way you change that is through some self-examination. You have to be willing to examine yourself instead of reaching outside of yourself. So instead of trying to extract love from the rest of the world through people-pleasing and efforting and shutting yourself down or presenting yourself a certain way to get love, you have to care more about your relationship with you and you. And if you're willing to do that, stick with me, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. You're going to take out a pen and paper and you're going to write down all of the ways you're not loving yourself, and you're going to make a commitment to stop doing that. And it can be anything from, I say this to myself. I say, you're not pretty enough. I say, oh, but you could never do that. I say, oh, that's not good enough. Anywhere where you're chronically putting yourself down, write it out. I feed myself junk food that makes me feel bad every time. That ain't love. That's not love. I keep putting myself in situations where I don't like the energy I'm around. I keep staying on the phone with that person that drains me. That's not love. If you think about what love is, it's oftentimes, if we could imagine ourselves with the parent or partner of our dreams, and imagine how they would treat us. How would this incredibly loving, amazing person treat us? And then we turn into that incredible, loving, amazing person. Like they say, if you want to find the love of your life, become it. So you can attract in more of that energy. That's where the magic is. Most people won't do this. Most people will go through a lifetime of suffering because they absolutely refuse to love themselves. A lot of people cannot look themselves in the eyes in the mirror. just can't do it. They won't do it. They choose not to do it. A lot of people aren't hugging themselves or touching themselves and saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And they're not having good pep talks with themselves. Like, you got this. Everything's going to be all right. You always get through this. You got what it takes. I've seen you get through other things before. You got this. I believe in you. A lot of times it's, oh, this is going to be really hard. I don't know if I can do it. What if this happens? What if that happens? Imagine a parent doing that to their child. Their child's trying to be brave and do something, and the parent's like, but what if this happens? What if that happens? And maybe you had a parent like that, and this and that, and oh, you're not tall enough, and you're not this enough, and I don't know if you can do that. If you can look at how you are with yourself and say, oh my God, I'm not a very nice parent to me, that's a good indicator that your self-love needs some nurturing and it needs to be able to grow. And the way you do that is by showing up for yourself in new ways and starting to make the unconscious conscious. Bring to the surface those negative ways you're parenting yourself abusively or neglectfully. You know, some people, they don't really take care of themselves. Whether it's like their physical body or their clothes or their environment, things are dirty, things are all torn up, things aren't taken care of. I feel like the people that have a bunch of clutter, they don't take care of their things. It's like, show up in your life with all that you are to all of yourself and all of the things around you with a sense of love and care, and watch your worth and your value raise. Watch your relationship with you improve. The reason a lot of people don't want to be alone with themselves is because they don't love themselves. And that looks like self-criticism. That looks like neglecting presence. They're scrolling on their phone, they're looking online, they're busying themselves with something, and they won't actually be with themselves. If you pause and you look at how you are with you and say, would I want to be living my life with that person? And the answer is no. You better do some work, because you are going to live your life with that person. That person is going to be the person you spend the rest of your life with. That person is going to be the love of your entire life. There are many other variables and many other people that will come and go. And maybe you'll fall in love and live a long life with someone, but you will still be the person that you spend the most time with. So you work on that relationship, and the rest of the world doesn't have a chance at getting you down. Do you understand? Do you understand that if you are good with you, if you give yourself pep talks, if you show yourself love, if you treat yourself like the beloved child that you are, if you're kind, if you're good, if you're a safe place for yourself, do you know that no amount of criticism or chaos in the world will ever shake you, and you will find a sovereign home inside of yourself? Feeling like you're not at home in the world is another symptom of not loving yourself. And I felt this for a really long time. I couldn't understand why I didn't feel home in the world. And it was because I wasn't loving me. I was telling myself bad stories about everything that was going on. I was being very anxious, negative, and pushy parent to myself. I wasn't showing love and compassion and peace and presence. And for me, presence makes me feel loved. So I will literally look in this mirror every day and do mirror work and just say, hi, I love you. You look great today. I'm really proud of you for that thing that happened on Monday and the way you handled it. You're kind of amazing. And I have a little niece, you know, and I can use that as a reference point. I think about talking to her and how I'm like, girl, what's got going on? And I will say those things to myself. And I think it's absolutely insane that we think that is somehow conceited, because conceit really grows from self-loathing. It doesn't grow from self-love. Self-love creates a person who's just in alignment with love. So dare to go there. Dare to give yourself that level of love and presence. So here's some practical steps. Look in the mirror and talk to yourself like you're your favorite niece or nephew or child. And acknowledge things you haven't been acknowledging, like all the work you've put in, what you did, how kind you were in that one moment, that brave thing you did, big or small. The way you didn't buy that one thing you kind of wanted, but you knew you didn't need it. Like, just acknowledge yourself. So acknowledgement is important and presence is important. Just being willing to hold yourself and be with yourself for a moment. Imagine living your life with someone who could never hold you, who would never just be with you and see you, who is constantly making you do things and thinking in circles and thinking in fear and throwing all these things at you. That's how most people operate with themselves. Or they go into apathy and they go into freeze and they don't make movement in their lives. Imagine a parent that said, you can't move, you can't do the things you want to do. Are you sure you're even going to be able to? I don't think so. Stay here. It's not safe out there. It's not safe to try. A lot of times we adopt these things from childhood too, and we're carrying them forth into our lives. And even though our parents aren't parenting us anymore, I don't know about you guys, I don't live in my parents' house anymore, we will take those negative ways of being parented and do it to ourselves. We will limit ourselves or criticize ourselves or judge ourselves in the exact same way that they did. And that's where that inner child work leads to an enormous breakthrough in the self-love realm for people, is being able to own how you weren't given the love that you needed so you can give it to yourself. It's not I blame mom and dad for everything. It's actually the opposite of that. It's actually coming into a place of accountability, because what you do is you go, I can acknowledge that even though my parents did the best they could or they gave me a happy childhood, I can acknowledge XYZ need was not met for me. That is the biggest thing I see for people. Most people are afraid to acknowledge where their parents didn't give them everything that they needed. They're afraid to say that because they think they're going to be bad people for judging their parents, but it's not judgment. It's ownership. It's saying, I am a flower who needed sun and I didn't get sun. And they gave me soil and they gave me rain and they gave me all these other things and I grew a little bit, but I needed the sun to really blossom. I've got so many plants out there and I see the ones I plant in the sun and the way they blossom, and I plant the other one the same day and it gets this big. It's acknowledging we didn't get our needs met, which doesn't mean shame on you, mom, shame on you, dad, for the most part. It means, okay, you did the best you can, and I see through that experience I needed more, and I'm the grown-up now, and I'm going to give it to me because I'm capable now. You know, a little kid isn't really fully capable. They don't have the mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical maturity. They can't go drive to the store and get the food that they want. They can't go drive to the mountains. They can't take themselves and do those things for themselves. And a lot of people get stuck in that old child mentality of, well, I can't give myself that love. I can't say those nice things to myself. I can't do those things for myself. What? But if you really look at it, you can. That's just an old belief because some part of you is stuck in that child trauma. And if you own where your needs weren't met, you can start meeting them for yourself, and you're going to feel this blossoming level of love open up in your heart. So take your self-love to the next level. Check in with yourself and see what you need to start saying to yourself and doing for yourself to liberate you from those old limiting ways that you were loved, so you can be loved all the way and be love all the way. I'll see you guys next time.